think there are some lights out in my room because it does not look good. And I will trim my fringe. I have an appointment to do that. Do not worry, but you don't need to see my eyes. Okay, so to get straight into this video, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, just ignore it. It is definitely, I don't want to say serious, but not as whimsical and fun as me just like reviewing books or doing a TBR type video. I feel it's quite important though, especially since recently a indie bookstore not too far from me shut down. It was woman owned. I have been there a couple times. It's actually in one of my shorts. It's featured, and it was really sad to see this business get shut down, but I fear that is something that might even be more common in the coming years. I know that that was I think in the past kind of 5 years, something that we have been seeing more. And so I wanted to talk about it. For starters, I didn't study economics. I'm trying to learn more about it as I get older. So I have done research in preparation for this video. I also want to say that if you're like, why am I going to listen to a random person on YouTube? That's fair enough. Decent critical thinking skills on your part. However, I will say, if it makes you feel any better, I do have a degree in journalism, so I feel like I am decent at research, and I think some of this stuff is also just common knowledge. So, like I said, I've been doing more research on the economy, especially as the global economy is struggling, and it's not hard to understand how that impacts small businesses. Starting with the BBC posted an interview with a couple who own a small business who were urging people not to forget about them. I am going to read the quote because I want to make sure not to misquote it. Mr. Mason said changes to EU regulations and US import tariffs forced the business to depend less on exports and more on local trade. And then according to AmericanExpress.com, while inflation affects businesses of all sizes, small businesses may face greater challenges when costs rise, as they may have fewer resources and less bargaining power than large firms. Now, I do also urge you to do more research if you're American on the American economy. Past AmericanExpress.com, all of my electronics are UK oriented now. They all are based in the UK, so when I was researching the US economy, it was giving me a lot of how it's affecting the UK economy. I was like, hey, tell me about US small businesses. And it was like, I don't know them. I will devil's advocate myself and say that if I had given it more time, I probably would have found stuff eventually. However, I do have to work outside of this. But I did want to make sure to get something in there because I know a lot of my audience is American, but I think if you are American, I'm sure you can tell how the economy is doing. So to relate this more to book shopping, places like Barnes & Noble may seem like they have bigger stock, so they might be your go-to, but it could be a matter with stock. Just asking your local bookstore, your independent bookstore nearby, to get a certain book in. Not only that, but I think it shows a lot when you see local bookstores, indie bookstores, hustling. I'm kind of using local and indie interchangeably. I'm going to try to not use both every time, but just so you know, I mean indie bookstores when I'm talking about local bookstores. So you see them hustling on social media. A lot of them are doing shticks. A lot of them are making like very specific themes and following trends on social media to get noticed. Barnes & Noble doesn't have to do that. Places like Barnes & Noble, they don't have to do that. When they are a big chain that are well-known nationwide, they don't need to try to get their names into your mouths because they are not locally, independently owned. They are a national business. They are known nationwide, and in the face of a global economic crisis, I urge you to shift your support to your neighbors over corporations. And I have noticed a lot of book shopping happening on Amazon. It may be more convenient to get books from Amazon. I did just pause to burp. I'll be so honest about it. Back to Amazon. That's what they do to me. They give me acid reflux. But Amazon does not need your money like local businesses do. I am going to read about their stock market cap being 2.48 trillion US dollars as of the 23rd of December. They also own Whole Foods, Twitch, Goodreads, Audible, Kindle, so many other things. They're fine. They're fine. I will also link down below a list of everything they own if you are curious. So a place I have sung the praises of before, and I'm going to continue to. They have not sponsored this video. I just love them. Bookshop.org. They are an online bookshop where you can support indie bookshops. You can put specific local businesses you want to buy from when you are ordering books from bookshop.org. You can pre-order books, you can get ebooks, and I may have to look this up, and I had to pause because I wanted to look this up to make sure it's accurate. You can also get audiobooks. And a lot of indie bookstores are making their own websites where you can shop and order books from. There's Resist Booksellers in the US, they ship nationwide. To name a few in the UK, there's The Bookish Type, My Book Basket, The Common Press, Gaze the Word. These are multiple that have websites that you can order books from. And another place for audiobooks specifically, if you're a big audiobook person, if you want to steer away from Audible, or like I think Barnes & Noble has their own audiobook platform, there is a lot of libraries. I would recommend that, but if you are going to buy it, Libro FM is similar to bookshop.org, where it is supporting independent bookstores, and you can put specific, like your local independent bookstore, see if they have that, or any other specific independent bookstore that you want to support. Moreover, another reason to support independent bookstores, make sure they don't shut down, is they do a lot of like community nights. They have like writing nights, craft nights, just like book clubs, that kind of stuff. So it is a good way to get out and meet people in the community who have similar interests as you and all that lovely stuff. All in all, I do want to add that I do agree there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. So if you do buy a book here or there from a big bookstore because it's in stock and you really want it and all that kind of stuff, I get it. I don't want anyone to feel like a bad person, except for the 1%. However, I do want to encourage people to try to be as ethical as possible and to support these local small businesses who really need your support. Also, I'll always say support the library, but that's a video for another time. If you do want me to make another video where I explain a lot of the resources you can get at the library and just like all things libraries tend to feature that people might not be as aware about, the library apps I have used and continue to use and all that good stuff, I am more than happy to do it. I just wanted to do this, especially after I saw that business shutting down. I was really sad about that. I wanted to make a video encouraging people to support local bookstores. And I think now, even though this is posting after Christmas, is a good time to talk about it. A lot of people are buying gifts and buying stuff and buying books. So it was something I just wanted to just remind people that your local bookstores, these indie bookstores, really need your support. And I urge you to do your best to support them. But that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like it, please like and subscribe. I have resources in the description. And I will see you next week. Bye!